Welcome to Behind the Aisle podcast, where we're just two wedding professionals sharing a no bullshit approach to what goes on behind the scenes in the wedding industry. My name is Sarah, and I'm a wedding photographer.
And my name is Katie, and I'm a wedding planner.
And welcome back.
Hello.
Hello. How is you?
Me is okay.
You is good. You is good.
We're going to talk this entire episode in like Yoda language. Me good is.
Okay. Full transparency, we are double recording and I am still sick. So that's why it still sounds like I am still sick, because we're recording multiple episodes in one day.
If you don't batch your content, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's just a full transparent, like, behind the scenes moment. So if you're wondering, like, goddamn, this girl can't get over it. I can't, but it's, yeah. That's why. Anyway,
I wonder if people actually think if like we do this, like we just record an episode every time.
Maybe.
What?
I don't know.
Y'all be crazy if you be thinking that.
I don't know. Anywho, what are we talking about today?
So I know you're sick, but this is a syndrome that I have on a daily basis.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Why are we
still
about it?
Daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Daily.
Mm-hmm.
Daily. Well,
yep.
I can see that. Kind of.
Anxiety.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about imposter syndrome today.
I don't get it daily, but I still get it frequently.
I have to remind myself every day, you've been doing this now for 7.5, almost 8 years. It's worked for 8 years.
You're gonna be okay.
You're fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I find that every year at this time, right before I start wedding season, my mind goes fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Because I'm good. I'm like, when you get off wedding season, you're like, great, I got 3 months of a break. This is fantastic. It's not really a break, but it is kind of a break. You can kind of like focus on things that you have, like all these plans and all this shit. And then that's great for a month. And then the second month, you're like, okay, I'm feeling relaxed. Like, this is great. I've gotten everything done that I need to get done.
Yeah.
Great. And then the last month, you're like, I'm never working again. My life is fucked. When in reality, I mean, I have 20 plus weddings happening this year, and you're like, okay, that's fine. Like, that's normal.
You're fine.
We're good. We're going to be fine. But then for some reason, I'm like, every year, literally this time, I'm like, I got to change everything. I need to rebrand. Something's not working. What's happening? Blah, 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 blah. It doesn't stop.
No, it really doesn't. For me, like during the off season, for us planners, we kind of have a little bit of an off season, but everything starts, at least, especially like finalizing like logistics and whatnot. Everything starts like 90 days out, like for the logistical thing. So already, since our very first wedding of the year is end of March, we already started back into things in January and whatnot as well. So, but even then, like, we're scheduling walkthroughs, and like my email inbox now is a little bit more heavier.
Yeah.
This is, like you were saying, like, this is the time where I'm like,
what's happening?
What the fuck am I doing? Like, am I asking like the right like questions? Am I like gathering like the right bit of information? Like, educational wise, like, am I educating? Like did anything fall through the cracks or whatever? I know on going back on our first wedding of the season, I can already see myself right now, because it happens every year. I'll be in the car, my palms be sweaty.
Yeah.
Like, everything else being like,
did I do it right?
Like, did I forget anything? Like, what am I supposed to do when I get there? And of course, obviously, when I get there, like, I'm fine. And I'm like, oh, this is natural. Like, I got this. And then not a big deal. But yeah, it's just, but even off, like, not necessarily during the off season, even just at least for me, I guess I can call myself like a vet, which is crazy to think about, because I still feel like a little baby planner who just started last year. That's not the case, obviously. But, I just have sometimes I have just a big difficulty of like, you started this from nothing, and You've made it this far. You've been blessed. Like, you've got a great community. Like, you're fine. You're paying your bills, like, with this or whatever. I'm kind of like, this is a facade. Someone's going to call me out and be like, you're a fraud. And I'll be like, okay. But I just, it's hard. It is hard. I think, I don't know if those that have, like, medically, like, diagnosed, like, with anxiety and, like, you know, depression and ADHD or ADD and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if there's like higher correlation with imposter syndrome with those types of people, or if it really, I have no idea. I would love, that's a great trial, like, for science that I'm not going to do. But yeah, I'm wondering if there's like a higher correlation with that, because I mean, even, I'll be honest, like, just this week alone, all of a sudden I've been having like nightmares, or I have this really evil voice. Like, God, showers are like horrible for me, because I'm like just in there obviously by myself, and I just alone with my thoughts. But like, I'm freaking myself out as of recently of like, what if this all goes away tomorrow? That's the latest voice in my head of like,
love that.
Like, what if like,
well, it can't, because you have 30 something weddings happening this year.
Yes. Not just me, it's the entire team. No one panic when they hear that. I'm not executing 30 weddings. It's the entire team together. Collectively, we're executing 30 weddings. But no, that's just like the latest, like, little voice in the back of my head of like, yeah, what if this all just gets taken away from you tomorrow?
Yeah.
It's annoying. It's real annoying, bro. It's real fucking annoying.
Yeah. It's hard. Imposter syndrome sucks because it also goes hand in hand with comparison.
I was just about to say.
And it especially in the off season, like, you can see, like, you see all these people doing things that you're not necessarily doing right now. And even if they're not actually doing them right now, but they're posting about them, you're like, God damn, like, what? I'm just sitting over here, like, twiddling my thumbs, waiting for the next thing to come my way.
Right.
And imposter syndrome can get really difficult in the off season, specifically with that too. It happens throughout the year too, but I think we're so, like, laser focused on just, like, pushing through everything, and it becomes a routine that we feel way more comfortable. But I mean, when we start looking in other people's lanes, you can start getting a little shifty.
I agree.
Yeah, it does get really, really hard. And we just kind of want to tell you guys, like, it's normal.
It is normal. You're not alone in this, like,
we
at
see
all.
you.
Yeah, 100%. And on top of that too, I feel like when I remember, like, as a rookie planner, definitely, like, the imposter syndrome was definitely there, because obviously I'm brand spanking new, and I had to find the confidence in myself to be like, I do belong in this space. There is room for me here, things like that too. And so when I got over that hurdle of like, okay, I've made a name for myself, I created a space for me, I invited myself to the table, like, all that sort of thing. Like, I have value.
You've created the table.
Oh, thanks. That's so sweet. I want to invite everybody at the table that I created, I guess. I just, that was really heartfelt. I don't know how to take that. Thank you. You can make me cry. Oh, stop. Cry about everything. It's really fine. But I, even now though, like, again, at like my 8-year, 10-year, which the fact that in 2 years I would be doing this we would be doing this in, like, for a whole last decade.
I know. We're going to have to fucking celebrate.
I need a cane. Or a walker, wheelchair, all three. Anyways, but even, like, I know, even for the veterans, I can only imagine too. God, I would love to hear from, like, an actual, like, person who's done it 10 years plus more than me, like, for who's in 20 years. I bet they also get it too. It's not like, imposter syndrome is not prejudiced against how many years you've been in business, what you do, like, you know, what type of demographic or budgets, like, that your clients typically have. I think it's everybody. Yeah. It's literally everybody has had it or has it.
Yeah. And I think it also changes. Like, it's not just one secular, like, syndrome. Like, you don't just feel unworthy. Like, that's not it. Like, your imposter syndrome can stem from your pricing, or it can stem from like your activities, or it can stem from outside of the wedding industry, like the things that you're not able to do because you're actually in the industry. Like we lose our Saturdays, so you feel an imposter syndrome of being maybe a good mom or a good spouse or something like that. It's not just one thing. It can also change throughout too. Like my imposter syndrome, it comes from, most of the time it's pricing. Like every time I want to raise my prices, I'm like, I'm not worthy enough to do that. I don't know why I do that. And I still do it every year. That's why my pricing has not changed. And it also comes to like the types of people that I'm serving. Like my clientele is bomb. I fucking love my people. Like I have worked so hard, and I have to remind myself that I've worked so hard to get to a point where I love my clients. Like every client that I have come through my door is somebody that is an ideal client for me. And it's hard because they are not, and this is okay, they are not ultra luxury.
Yeah.
They are not super high end. They are not doing, $100,000 plus weddings. But what we are seeing, because it's pretty and it's shareable and it's extra, and people love extra, we see those ultra luxury weddings. And so the imposter syndrome also comes from that, of like, I'm not doing well because I'm not serving multimillionaires. Yeah. And that is just something that, you have to deal with in this industry, unfortunately. But that's, you just got to stay in your lane. You're doing good.
Just love on the people that and it kind of like brings me to like the point of, yes, like from a clientele perspective, like obviously those that are like booking you, they clearly love you for you. Yeah. At least obviously that's the hope. Maybe there's a couple of couples in there that maybe like your pricing was right for them and they felt, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day though, there's also multiple people that are also the same pricing as you, but you were chosen though out of so many of the other options. So you have to continue to remind yourself of that, that you were the chosen one. I just had like the visual of, in Toy Story, like the claw that comes down. Yeah. The claw. Yeah.
I have been chosen.
Oh my God. That scene actually kind of freaks me out a little bit.
Honestly, that scene though is the wedding industry.
It is.
Like if you think about it, like there are 40,000 fucking little aliens
in a box,
in a machine. Yeah. And we are all those little tiny fucking aliens that are just waiting to be chosen. And then all of a sudden somebody comes along, puts a couple quarters in and picks me.
I love this metaphor so much. The claw.
Claw.
Oh my God. But it's true though, because, okay, think about it. We're going to continue on with this metaphor because now this has got me all hyped. Like when you go to one of those claw machines, obviously you're not like looking at all of like the little mini aliens like together. You just find the one and you're like, okay, my goal is to get that particular one for whatever strategy. Maybe you're like, maybe this one's easier to pull out. I don't really know. But like you have to pick like just one. Your clients are the exact same way. They understand that there are 5 million photographers. There's like 5 million planners and florists and hair and makeup artists and videographers and all the things. But they're looking for and pinpointing on the one that they know is going to serve them really well, based off personality, budget, style, like all the different things, experience, all that type of stuff too. So I don't think there's not really a cure, quote unquote, for an imposter syndrome, right? There's not. The only way that I can, at least for me, that's helped when it does come knocking pretty hard on my own door is the fact that I have to remind myself that, of course, like my faith is a big part of like my life, but like, I have been blessed put in the position that I've meant to be here. The community that I have surrounded myself would never allow me to like fall on my face. or when I do fall on my face, they're like, okay, let me pick you up. You're fine. There's a supportive community, and also just the internals of like, dude, I've literally 7.5 years. I've gone through all of these obstacles. I've won a whole lot. I've lost a whole lot. Thought I was going to quit, was uberly blessed to the point where I was like, oh shit, I don't know if I can, like, my cup really do be overflowing. I don't know if I can continue on, whatever have you. And so, but I've been able to persevere. So you have to have like the really positive self-talk, and that's what is going to shut down the imposter syndrome. But again, I cannot say it enough and advocate enough. You've got to find your supportive community. Yes, your clients are great. The money that rolls in is great too. But at the end of the day though, yes, positive self-talk, but your community that you surround yourself around, that's really what's going to help you drag out. And also being transparent with them, because we're all going through the same shit.
Yeah. And to piggyback off of the community you surround yourself with, that can also lead into the imposter syndrome.
Yes.
If you are surrounding yourself with a poor community or somebody that doesn't lift you up or uses you for the wrong reasons or doesn't support you in a way that can help you grow, and you can you got to take a step back and look at it and be honest with yourself and be okay to leave that community as well, because the imposter syndrome can also stem from the people that you are surrounding yourself with.
Yes.
And we find that a lot within the luxury market as well, that people start to doubt their worth because they're not meeting the standards of those that are
their fellow colleagues.
their peers, quote unquote, are around them. So that can also be a part of the reason why you are feeling the way that you're feeling.
It requires a lot of self-reflection.
Yeah.
And then it has a lot to do with like you coming to terms of like, hey, let me find the people that I want to serve. Let me find the people that I want to serve with. And that might not look like the most popular group of people, or it could also be the popular group of people. That's totally fine. But you have to be the one that sets that understanding. You can't allow the rest of society or other people,
social media,
the industry in general. You can't allow that to set up what the definition of success is for you. Everybody's definition of success is different. The word success obviously has the same definition, but your personal definition of what that even looks like for you, that is going to be different. And you can't allow other people to determine, hey, this is what your definition of success should be. That's not how this works.
Yeah.
By any means. By any means. Because your values are going to be different. Sometimes your priorities are going to be different. Your wants, your needs are going to be different.
Your home life is different.
Yeah.
Everyone's.
Yes. Everyone's. Yes. Yeah. There's not one family, household, person's life that is the exact same to the next person. Like you and I, we share lots of personal experiences, like from our home life. We have some similarities, but your upbringing is not the exact same as mine. Again, we have some things that we can relate to, but it's not the exact same. So even like how you and I, like we're super close, and like our community obviously is like the same, and our clientele is the same, but still like your definition of success and my definition of success are still very different, even though we're pretty much like pretty close to parallel, but it's not the exact same. So it's all that to say is like the biggest thing that I'm going to advocate for, and I'm sure you can piggyback off of it too, is like you have to have the self-talk. You have to have this self-reflection of like, okay, let me write it down. Like, what does success mean to you? I know when I first started, Jeff and I, my husband, we've been on this financial journey of becoming debt free. We started like the Dave Ramsey method, like back in COVID times. And we've kind of modified that a little bit over time. But many years ago, my whole definition of success was I want to be able to go to the grocery store. I want to be able to go to Chipotle. I want to be able to go to McDonald's and literally be able to swipe my debit card and not figure out, holy shit, is there money in the bank? And like, can I even afford to do like this Chipotle run like for this week, or do I have to wait to the next pay period? Like all that sort of thing. We've crossed that threshold of, we've we are successful in that now.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't always like that. There are a couple of times where we're like, okay, maybe we should like chill out or whatever, so we don't fall back into that and like realign our discipline. Sure. But that like many years ago, I remember like that was the definition of success. It was the same thing with like Tilly and Teal's like debit card is like, you know, I wanted to be able to, you know, pay for team dinners and stuff. And I had to think about, okay, if I give this card now to like the waiter, is my hand shaking, or can I confidently give it to him being like, okay, I'm able to pay for like team dinner and things like that too. So, again, that was just that's an example of success. Again, your definition of success is going to be different. You as a listener, your definition of success is going to be different, but you are the only person. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but I really want to make sure that you are truly like understanding and it's in your earballs and seeping down into your heart that you have to be the one to determine your definition of success. Mm-hmm. It's not your best friend. It's not your colleagues. It's not the industry. It's not your clients, nobody else, your parents, family members, nobody else.
Honestly,
you.
It's not even you and your partner either, because my husband and I have two different definitions of success as well.
Yeah.
And granted, I mean, we agree on them, so we're not butting heads, but
right.
His definition of success is wildly different than mine. And that is okay. I mean, he supports me. I support him. His is like, his is just, he wants to take over the fucking world. And I'm okay with just being able to go and buy avocados whenever I want. That literally, I shit you not, that was like, I remember telling myself like 5 years ago that like, my definition of success is I can just go and be that person that like eats avocados daily, because their bitches are expensive. And I want to be able to go to the grocery store and be like, I can buy like 10 avocados today, even though you can't really eat them all at one time. But yeah, that was like 5 years ago. That was
so
my
interesting.
That was
Avocados?
my avocados. That was the thing for me, was avocados.
I love this.
Yeah. Like, cause they're like $2 a piece.
Yeah, they're fucking expensive,
like
bro.
at some points. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to be able to just be that girl that could eat avocados like whenever she wanted. That
Same
was
thing with
it.
them strawberry bitches too.
Yeah.
During the winter season.
Yeah.
Good Jesus.
Avocados are actually the cheapest thing right now. Eggs are fucking $60 a piece. Not anymore, but
My God.
Yeah. Anywho, but yeah, it really just stems from you and who you are and what you want, and what you want can also change.
Yes. Your definition of success does change.
It changes
over time.
all the time. Like granted, like I don't care about avocados anymore. Like that's,
yep.
We've gone to bigger things. Now I want to be able to pay my mortgage, you know, and not think about it like that. And like, then we want to buy like land and like it gets bigger and it changes, or it gets smaller and it changes. Like it goes all over the place all the time. And same thing with your imposter syndrome will change all the time as well. And it's not to say that you are going to get rid of imposter syndrome. Mm-mm. It is going to stick around. It's just how you deal with it that is beneficial.
Yeah.
And how you can come out of it is what, you know, defines you and helps you move forward.
I wholeheartedly agree. So, if y'all want to weigh in on the imposter syndrome topic, this is, I know we are not alone. You're not alone in this either. Slide in our DMs. We also, we might not personally know you, but please know and understand that Sarah and I are major cheerleaders for you.
Yeah.
Because whether you've been in the industry for 8 years, 5 years, 1 year, 6 months, 2 days. We're here cheering for you. And we want you to feel like you do have like a supportive community with like your behind the aisle like community here, because there are plenty. We see your stories when you guys come in our DMs and you're telling us, hey, this episode really resonated with me. For those that like, I know I get personal text messages sometimes being like, I just listened to this. This was great. Like thanks so much for continuing on. And obviously it helps us out and we feel loved on it. But also at the same time too, we're so thankful as well that a community has been made with this idea that we just put out on the interwebs.
Yeah.
So on the frequencies.
Yeah. We love you and we're here for you, and you are not alone in this. And you got this, babe. You got it.
100%.
100%. We're going to leave you with that because I think that's a great place to leave off.
I agree.
So where can they find you, Katie?
Well, you can find the podcast at Behind the Aisle Podcast on the Instagram, also website behindtheaislepodcast.com. Make sure you guys are submitting your What the Fuck Wednesday stories.
Yes, please.
I know wedding season, by the time like this episode comes out, we're still kind of like starting off the season, but I don't know if a story just kind of clicks to your head from like last season, or maybe some of y'all who've already started their seasons. I know a couple of people who've already got weddings under their belt, which is crazy.
My first one is Saturday, so
woohoo!
woo.
We still got a couple weeks for the Tilly and Till team. But anyway, so Behind the Aisle Podcast on Instagram, behindtheaislepodcast.com on the interwebs. For me personally, TILLYANDTEAL on the Instagram. Give me a follow there. And what about you, Sarah?
I am Serendipity Photography, SARA, like my name, Serendipity Photography. And yeah, we love you.
Sweet.
Okay, see you
Love
in the
you
next
lots.
one. Bye.